Hi, my name is Mada and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be posting something a little bit different and I'm going to be talking to you about lawns. It may not be Bill Nye, but I'm just about done with my Earth and Environmental Science degree at UBCO and I'm very passionate about learning all the inner workings of the environment and getting very excited about honestly anything that's happening around me. I am an Okanagan local through and through and I grew up here. In this video I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Okanagan landscape, where our water comes from and why we have so little of it. Also going to reveal lawns' little secret that they're actually not that good for the environment. But that's not the end of the story. You can have different alternatives to lawns that are more drought resistant, use less water, and are overall better for the environment. So you may be asking yourself, if lawns are so bad for the environment and there's so many great alternatives, why are they so prevalent in yard design? As it turns out, there's actually a deep history of how lawns came to be and why they're still so popular today. A lot of the landscapes that we see today have been influenced by different designs such as French formal, English picturesque, Victorian gardenesque, and in the 20th and 21st century, modernism. According to the Planet Natural Research Center, lawns come from a European origin where they're well suited to the moist and mild climates that occur there. Specifically, in the 16th century Renaissance, the French and English wealthy actually started to cultivate lawns more and more in landscape design. But lawnmowers did not exist back then. Unless you're able to afford the labor to tend to and maintain the landscape, you weren't having a lawn. Lawns quickly became a symbol of wealth and status, and these pristine turfs moved into the cultural norms that we have today. Larson et al. Explained that there's still lots of societal pressure through these cultural norms, and even economic pressure when you see those ads that are promoting those new garden equipment that are going to help you maintain the perfect lawn. Ignativa also explains that lawns are even seen as an inherent part of the natural landscape nowadays. They're often viewed as functional spaces that can be used for sports and recreational activities such as picnicking or just hanging out. Therefore, Barnes et al. Explain that it would make sense why people get so upset when water restrictions are placed and they can't help maintain their lush green lawns. These restrictions disrupt the normal and can pose as negative psychological barriers to water conservation. This is because people are often feeling like they're being denied use and they have to personally sacrifice something in order to conserve water. Water restrictions are really important to address because they're often a reality for a lot of people living in the Okanagan during the summer months. And since hydrology is one of my favorite things to discuss, I'm going to explain to you why the Okanagan is so dry.
The Okanagan is located in south-central BC and is part of the Southern Interior Ecoprovince. It is also part of the Dry Ecodomain and Semi-Arid Highland Ecodivision. But what does this mean? The Okanagan is dry and has the lowest annual precipitation in southern Canada, along with hot summers and mild winters. To the north, there is about 400 millimeters of annual precipitation, while the southern Okanagan only gets about 250 millimeters. So, why is the Okanagan so dry? We are in the rain shadow of the Cascade Mountains. This means that the moist air from the coast has to travel up and over the mountains where it cools and condenses, releasing all of this water in the form of precipitation. By the time it reaches us, it has very little water left. In addition, all of the water that enters the Okanagan is through precipitation, causing this area to have the lowest amount of fresh water available per person than most areas in Canada. The average household uses about 1,000 liters of water a day, which is about equal to 5 bathtubs. 641 liters of this is allocated to outdoor use, mostly in the summer. The highest proportion goes toward crop irrigation, while the second highest is used for residential outdoor use, also known as watering yards and lawns. In conclusion, lawns are great if you live in an area like Vancouver. The Okanagan is also a very diverse region in Canada, yet it has one of the highest concentrations of species at risk. One of these include the western bumblebee. They are threatened by loss of habitat due to urban development and herbicide use. Prosk et al. And Tessler et al. Explain that when natural landscapes are replaced with lawns, biodiversity is reduced. Important systems such as vineyards and orchards in the Okanagan rely on these pollinators, so it is important to support their habitats. In fact, Austin et al. Explain that 1 of every 3 bites of food we take is a result of successful plant pollination by animals.
So, if your lawn is looking like mine, aka really bad, you have some options. If you've decided that you're not quite ready to fully give up your lawn, Make Water Work has come up with 5 things you can do to help conserve water surrounding your lawn. One of the first things you can do is to make sure that you only water your lawn between dawn and dusk. This is because when you water your lawn in the middle of the day, all that water is just going to re-evaporate into the atmosphere and none of it is actually going to go into your lawn. Again, I technically don't have a degree in Earth and Environmental Science quite yet, but I'm pretty sure you actually don't need to water pavement to keep it alive. Therefore, the second thing you can do is to make sure that if you want to water your grass, you align your irrigation or sprinklers so that it's not actually watering the pavement. I wish that one was more of a no-brainer for people. The third thing you can do is to make sure that you don't mow your lawn less than 8 centimeters. When you mow it shorter than that, water evaporates out of the soil quicker and doesn't stay there. Therefore, when you keep it a little bit longer, it'll need to be watered less often. The fourth thing you can do to help conserve water is to plant drought-resistant species within your lawn, or on slopes that don't really grow grass that well, you can also put cover crops such as clover or yarrow to help cover areas where it doesn't really retain water and you're just using it unnecessarily. The fifth thing you can do is to aerate your soil and lay compost over as a topsoil. This helps to naturally fertilize your lawn so that you avoid over-fertilizing, which can end up in our stormwater and pollute our body's water. Okay, so this is my yard. Say that we want to turn this into a Xeriscape. Here's how we could do it.
The Okanagan Xeriscape Association outlines 7 steps to creating a Xeriscape yard. The first is to decide what you'd like to have in your yard. This could be a butterfly garden, a place to sit, or a large shaded area. Next, they suggest finding good quality soil to ensure moisture retention and natural fertilization. Third, it's okay to still have some lawn. It's important to evaluate how much of your yard you want to devote to Xeriscapes. Fourth, efficient irrigation can be achieved by grouping plants with similar watering needs and investing in a tune-up of your irrigation system. Fifth, you can now select plants you want to put in your Xeriscape. The last steps include mulching and maintenance to keep your landscape weed-free, fertilized, and managed. So, for my yard, the first thing I did was decide how I wanted to use the space. The part highlighted here is a pretty steep slope and I can't really do anything with it, so I feel like this could just be delegated to cover crops. However, on the upper part, this is a spot where me and my friends like to sit, so I feel like a nice seated area with replacing the rest of the lawn with a cover crop would work well. Next, I had to evaluate how much sun this area gets. In the morning, it gets a lot of direct sun, and then it kind of carries on until like the mid-afternoon. Peak summer, this spot usually gets sun until around 5 or 6 p.m. It's usually pretty low at that point, so I feel like this area doesn't get a ton of hot sun. The next thing to do is to hop onto the Okanagan Xeriscape Association website. They have a ton of different resources on their website, but most importantly, they have a plant database. This is really handy when you're choosing which type of plants you want to put in your yard, is you can input a bunch of different parameters and then it'll come up with a list of different plants that would go well with those conditions. Then you can do what I did and take that list to your local nursery and you can take a look around and see what they have. I was on the hunt for some thyme, which is a good plant for a cover crop, and luckily I found it at the Kelowna Greenery. These are just a few examples of little Xeriscapes that my mom has in her yard. She's a big fan of using thyme instead of grass, and it's actually a really plush ground cover.
It's super comfortable too. So now you know about Xeriscaping. It's definitely a different approach to our yards than we're used to, but it's actually really important, especially in a region like the Okanagan. Okanagan Xeriscape Association is a great website, and they actually hold different workshops that you can go to learn about all these different techniques and how you can make your yard the most water conservative and biodiverse place it can be. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you learned something, and I hope to see you in my next Earth Science related video.